Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. My name is Alali Godbless and today we'll be looking at vectors and rasters. So first of all, we're going to look at what is a vector and what is a raster. So a raster, most persons are familiar with JPEG images like those we get from a digital camera. So if you have ever zoomed in very close or blown up a JPEG image too large, you may have noticed that the image becomes blurry and the colors turn into small squares or dots. The small dots are called pixels, and this kind of image is also called a raster graphic. So all photos are made up of pixels. So because photos are made up of pixels, they have a limited percentage of zoom. There's a limit at which you can zoom every image. So that is just it. So let's look at a vector. A vector graphic is an image made up of parts. So these parts could be lines with starting and ending points, just as lines, polygons, and curves. The key advantage of using vector graphics instead of raster image is the ability to scale without compromising the image quality. This means no matter the size or how far zoomed in the image, the lines, curve, and the points remain smooth. So the artwork will never have zigzag lines or blurriness. So no matter how you scale or how you zoom a vector graphic, it's not going to be blurry. There is no limit for it. So no matter how you size your text, no matter how you size your shape, it's not going to be blurry. So today we'll be creating and drawing shapes, customizing shapes, JFace and stroke, vertical and horizontal types using the pen tool. All these things will be done in Photoshop. So let's dive into our Photoshop. So for this reason, we'll be creating something like this. But before we create something like this, let's look at some basic uh, vector shapes. So come to file like this, click on new. So when you click on new, you're going to set up a size. Let's use 180 by 180 pixels. Sorry, 1080 by 1080 pixels, and our resolution is going to be 300. Okay, so let's okay this, and we're going to have a new document where we're going to have some shapes and triangles and rectangles. Now we talked about our layer panel. Don't forget about the layer panel. When you create any new document, it appears in a layer. When you have anything you insert here must appear in your layer panel. So first of all, we have a rectangle. These are rectangles. These are some of the vectors. And when we draw this rectangle, you can include your shape fill. This area is called this color palette here. This preset here. This area is called the shape fill, and this is the shape stroke. Some softwares call this an outline. Photoshop call it stroke. So you can click on this fill and change the color. You can click on this fill. When you click on this fill, you see different kinds of color. See different kinds of color here. Okay, so that is just it. So I can have a field color and come and have a stroke color. Let me see, I use this red like this. So I'm having a field color and a stroke color. So I can reduce the size of the stroke like this. I come in here, reduce the size of the stroke. Alright, so that is just it for this. So we have a rectangle. When you come down to this, you also see a rounded rectangle. On this, you can curve the edges like this by coming to this arc. You can curve the edges like this to make it look like an arc. So like this, you have ellipse tool. You can call it a circle. So on this, we don't want to have stroke here. We want to have a stroke color here. So click on it, click it out. So this is just it. We don't want to have stroke color here. So you can change the fill color like this. You can change the stroke color like this. Sorry. So no, depends on what you want to use for your stroke color. So that is just, so outside this there is something we have. Again, we have the polygon tool. Now on the polygon tool, look at the option panel. The polygon tool is giving us a triangle like this. Now if I don't want the polygon tool to have 3 sides, I can come like this. I click on the polygon tool, come to size, let me say I make it 5. Enter, come and draw. The same polygon tool is giving us 5 sides. Same polygon tool is giving us 5 sides. So if I click on it again and I come to the option panel, maybe I press 7, enter, it's going to give us 7 sides. Same polygon tool. So depending on how many sides you want to achieve on your polygon tool, first of all we achieve a triangle and all the rest. So that's just it. And another thing again, we have the custom shape here. We click on it, come here like this, you can see different type of custom. I can pick snail, draw snail like this. Yeah, that's just it. Can pick rabbits. Can use another color for the rabbit, and again come back, can pick a bird for it. Can use another color for the bird. It just so much. Can pick another color, and the custom shapes, and use ego to do what you want to do. So I can change the color for the ego just like this. Let me use this color. So all these, don't forget, they have their layers. If you haven't watched the video concerning the layer, please go back to the previous video and understand what the layer is all about. So all these have their layers. They have their layers. So if I open their layer visibility, you are going to see them. So on your vectors, we have all these custom shapes for you. Let me say if you want to let me delete this one. I'm sorry. Let me say I want to use, let me use other stuff like trees. On this we have this tree here, Christmas tree. Okay, so it all depends on what, these are all custom shapes here. Yeah, you can change your feed colors to the colors you want. Let me say any human icons. Yeah, you change this to this. So with the custom shapes, we can achieve things like this. Let me say maybe we're trying to get a reflection of something, the sun rays and all the rest. So you can get other custom shapes like this. Let me say I use this. Yeah, what. Okay, let me use this now. So that just it. These are different types of shapes. When we talk about vectors, these are different types of vectors. So these vectors, you can stretch them like this. Let me say, delete this. You can stretch these vectors like this. Stretch them. They won't be blurry. You can increase them to what size you want to increase. They won't be blurry. Their size is going to remain the same. I believe you understand. So their size is going to remain the same. They are never going to be blurry because they are called vectors. So back to back, this is just it. So today we are going to be doing something like this, something very simple. So this is done with just shapes, just vectors. is done with just vectors. There is nothing else here. Everything that here is all about shapes and shapes and shapes, shapes and shapes and shapes. So the first thing we do here is, let's go back. Let's create a document of an A4 size. So press on your keyboard, press Ctrl N on your keyboard. For those of you using the Windows OS, press Ctrl N and look for A4 size. So this is our A4 size like this. So what we do is come to image rotation counterclockwise. So, and this is the first thing we do is creating a rounded rectangle. Creating a round, you can click on the rectangle just like this. So we zoom. Sorry. So now curve the edge like this. Okay, this is okay. Reduce it a bit. I believe you all can see my screen. So change the fill color to white. Yeah, change the fill color to white. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. There's something we're supposed to do quickly before we go into this. Our background. So you can double click on your background color like this, and you can, when you double click on the background color, a color picker comes out for you to pick your background just like this. You could press Ctrl backspace to have this background, and the next thing we do is having our rectangle just like this. Okay, so we change the fill color to white. Fill color white. Okay, so you can curve the edge like this a bit. Okay, so let's zoom this a bit, and the next thing we do is our stroke color. So you can't see, click on this, click on stroke. Let's go with this. Yeah, this is okay. So we have our stroke color like that. So the next thing we do is our rectangle. So we have this like this. You can move it like this. So that is just it, and we can do Ctrl T on the keyboard, and we'll have something like this. Right click inside, you see perspective, and yeah, so the next thing we do is create another rectangle. Everything we are doing here is all about just rectangles, rectangles, rectangles. Okay. Alright, so this is for this. Okay, so create another shape again, the rectangle. Don't forget we are dealing with rectangles, rectangles, rectangles. So the next thing is to create a fill color in here. just like this. We call the edge a bit. Okay, so we are making sense. Our shape is making sense right now. So the next thing we do is creating some shapes inside here. That we will press Ctrl T, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up, and we start making an outline, like outlines and fills, colors. And we can use our rulers to get this done. Let's use our rulers. So you can draw this like this. Yeah, so we are going to reduce the feed color. Let's say we use this. Okay. So the next thing we do is creating another shape. Okay. Control T, reduce the size like this. So don't forget, you're talking about vectors. How you can use vectors to create a whole design. So vectors are shapes, they are typography, they are shapes we draw. So we are using only shapes to create this design. Using only shape to achieve this design. Ctrl J. So we'll make another rectangle here like this. Okay. So the next thing we put ellipse tool. Let's zoom this a bit, zoom it closer. Draw it like this. Fill it red. So you can duplicate this by pressing Ctrl G on your keyboard if you are using the Windows OS. Click on to change the fill to yellow. Duplicate it again, Ctrl J, and move it just like this. change it to green. Alright, so I think we're done with this. No, not really. There's a shape here. To create a new layer, oh, don't forget all these things we are doing have layers of their own. So create a new layer, use the polygonal lasso tool, press L on your keyboard, you see the polygonal lasso tool. So the next thing you do is changing the background. After you create your new layer, you pick polygonal lasso tool, click on the background, change it to white because the color I want to fill is white. So you can draw it like this. Draw it like this with your polygonal lasso tool. So after you have your selection, press Ctrl backspace and you have the color white. So reduce your opacity, you zoom out, and we have our shape like this. So the next thing we do is creating a shadow. So let's create a new layer, pick your polygonal lasso tool, set your background color to be black. So after you create your new layer, this is layer 2 for our shadow we are going to have. So click on it like this. Control backspace to fill, Control D to deselect, so release it to. Most of you will be like, why is it doing this? Why is it doing this? Why is it spoiling the design? So left click, drag it down here. So we are trying to get a shadow reflection on this. So reduce the opacity, and boom, reduce the opacity again, and we are good to go. So you can use your eraser tool to pick your eraser tool by pressing key E on your keyboard. This is your eraser tool. To increase the eraser tool, reduce the hardness of the eraser, drop the hardness to 0. So let's erase this a bit. Alright people, so we are done with this. Thank you for staying tuned.